Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashivasamarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayanam Vasishtam Shaktim cha Tatputra Parasharam cha Vyasam Shukam Gaudapadam Mahantam Govinda Yogindra Madasya Sishyam Sri Shankaracharya Matasya Padma Padam cha Hasta Malakam cha Shishyam Tam Todakam Vartika Karamanyan Gurun Santatamanatosmi Shruti Smriti Purana Namalayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kridau Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punah Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. 343 Arudha Shakti Rahamo Vinashaha Kartrunna Shakyah Sahasavi Pandidaihi Ye Nirvikalpakya Samadhi Nischalaha Tanantarananta Bhavahi Vasanaha. We saw what is Savikalpa Samadhi and what is Nirvikalpa Samadhi in this 343rd verse, and it is explained very well. Jnatradi avilayana eva gneye brahmani kevale tadakara akaritaya chittavrittihi avastitihi sadbihi sayeva vigneya samadhihi. That is, having the Triputi knower, known, or the object of knowledge, and the very process of knowing. These are the three. So in every transaction, these three are there. So I, the knower, the chair is what is known, and knowing of the chair is taking place. If the knower engages in the act of knowing, otherwise the subject I and the object will be there, but if my eyes are open but my mind is somewhere else, the object may be in front of me, but then knowing doesn't take place, right? On the other hand, object is there, subject is not there, then also knowing will not take place. Subject is there, object is not there, then also knowing will not take place. So, subject and object coming in contact with each other, there is this third one appearing as knowing. Now, in the same way, in the deeper or higher practice of the meditation, the meditator sits down, and after having calmed down the mind from all other distractions, and upon keeping Brahman as the very goal of contemplation, now slowly brings the mind's attention in focusing on Brahman as Satchidananda Vastu, Aham Pratyaya Rupaha, Aham Vritti Rupaha, Aham Idi Sakshat Sarva Bhuteshu Sada Atmani Vasate, Sada Atma Bhavena Vasate. So that Atman I am. So I, the Sakshi, I the knower, I am the witness, I am watching my thoughts, I see all my thoughts rise and fall. I don't identify with any of the thoughts. No thought is me, I am just watching it. So this way, the mind, the knower here, the dhyanam is dhyatha, the meditator, dhyeya, the meditated object called the Brahman. When there is connection between these two, it's called dhyana. So it is not upasana per se, because upasana is an external object. Upasana is worship of the particular form of a deity, and you have all attributes and gunas, etc., of that particular deity you are thinking about. That is upasana. Whereas dhyanam is not that. Dhyanam is more of internalizing your attention and meditating upon the one which is your core being. Now this triputi is there, that is what it is said. The akara akarita vritti, akaritaya chitta vrittehe. So tat akara akaritaya chitta vrittehe avastitihi. So chitta vritti is there, thought is there still, and that is known as vikalpakaha. So now the example is given, mrida eva avabhane api mrunmaya dvibhanavat. When an elephant is made of mud, you are aware of both the mud as well as the elephant. What is the two awareness here? Apparently, I am aware of it being mud, but that does not mean that I don't see the elephant form. I see the elephant form, right? Similarly, I know myself as the self. At the same time, I know myself as the meditator of that. So here, sanmatra avastu abhane api triputi badi sanmayi. Even though the existence alone is there, but there is the presence of these three, the seer or the meditator, meditated, meditation. All the three are present. Samadhi Ada evayam savikalpa iti idyate. This is what is known as savikalpa samadhi. Jnatradi. The next one is, when this intensifies, an individual again and again attempting on this savikalpa samadhi and able to maintain a stream of thoughts exclusively only focusing upon the jnaya vastu Brahman and nothing else in the mind, such an individual slowly loses the individuality of me, a person, an being meditating upon the object called the Brahman. The object becomes subject. The object becomes the subject. Meaning, the object does not anymore remain as an objectifiable thing. That is why it is said in the next one, Jnatradi bhavam utsrujya Nyeyamatra avastiti, Nyeyamatra stitihi drudha. Nyeyamatra, what is being known or what is being meditated upon. Manasaha nirvikalpasyat samadhi yoga samjitaha, because it is nirvikalpa manaha, and jalam nikshipta lavanam jalamatradaya stitam. Jale nikshiptadam jale nikshipta lavanam, like that of the salt thrown into the water, no more remains as independent of the water. The what remains is just the water. The example is significant because water is not one small cup of water. So a cup of water, definitely you will find a salt. If you are putting in a cup of water a spoonful of salt, you will taste the salt in that cup of water. Think of the same 1 spoon of water, so for salt, you are putting in a lake. Then what happens? In the same way, when Brahman is understood to be Sarvavyapakaha, Sarvasvit, Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman, and in that Brahman, I, the Jiva, when I meditate as me, real self is that only, that Sarva with Sarvajna, Sarveshwara, Sarvashaktiman, Sarvavyapi. That's like the salt going towards the lake and merging there. That much is only the attempt. Thereafter, salt has no individuality there. It merges completely. What remains is just the vast quantity of water. So, Prithak nabhati kintu pritang nabhati. It doesn't stay independently. Kintu aba ekam eva avabhasade. Amba eva avabhasade. Only the water remains. Yata tata eva, in the same way, va sa vrittihi brahma matradaya stita pritang nabhati. Brahma eva advitiyam avabhasate. Jnatradi kalpana abhavat abhavat mata abhava nirvikalpa abhavatan matoyam nirvikalpa. There is something missing here. So that's what there is. Abhavan matah ayam. Abhavan matah. Of the nature of Jnatradi kalpana abhavan matah. The nature of being where there is no destriputi, that nature alone is called nirvikalpaha. So, this is what is considered to be a state of no vikalpa, no triputi, no individuality, no particular experience. So, like as I said, that jnanam or dhyanam as an act is no more. So, the closest example we give is a sleep that we experience. Whether you are in the night or during Vedanta class, it is the same thing. So, where the wanting to sleep, the desirer of the sleep is no more. The desirer of the sleep is no more. So, interesting thing is, in the case of a dream, it is not that you want to dream. Nobody says today, okay, decide, from 10 o'clock to 11:30 I'll dream. It's not that you decide to dream. It happens, right? In a dream, what happens? The dreamer is there, dream is there, and dream world is there. Though at that time we don't recognize it as a dream, but we can recall the dream experience later on, which is to be equated to Savikalpa Samadhi. Okay. Why it is so? Because experience takes place. Mind is there. Mind is experiencing the activities there. Individuality as a mind is there, and there is a created world by the mind is also there, and the experience of dream is there, and therefore the mind can recall that particular experience, though later on you will say it is not real, but experience has taken place. But when you slip into the state of sushupti, from the dream, when you go into the state of deep sleep, you do not know when. Can you transition? You know that? Oh, now my dream ended, now the sleep starts. No. How does that take place? What happens there? Think. The dream as an external world merges, in that case, into you, into the mind. Whereas the opposite happens in the case of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. It is the individual merges into Brahman. So that is the reason why when you wake up next morning, you know you dreamt, you can recall the dream experience, then there is a blank, right? Because the dream world which was created by the mind went back to the mind and mind withdrew completely. Whereas in the case of the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, there is a conscious attempt of the individual from Savikalpa to Nirvikalpa only to lose one's identity in the one single thought of Brahmakara Vritti, and therefore Brahma eva asti tatra sanmatra rupe, sanmatra sthiti, pure existence, and I, the experiencer, is no more. At the same time, because it is consciously attempted on, there is no, even though there is no experience, but you will know after, let us say, one comes out of the samadhi, he knows that he was not absent, he has become full, he has become complete. And the indication of that is the experience of that leads to false nature of this world. The effect of Nirvikalpa Samadhi is there. That's what is going to be discussed in the next. That's why I'm going elaborately on that. The result of Nirvikalpa Samadhi is undoubtedly knowing the world is false, which is not the case in Sushupti. Is it not? After waking up, you don't say, oh, when I went into sleep and nothing was there, therefore the world is false. You don't come to that conclusion. Even though theoretically you know. Theoretically, we all know that the world is false. I mean, at least the Vedanta students know that the world is false. Theoretically. But we don't treat it that way. We treat the world as false. Salt is salt, spice is spice, sugar is sugar, heat is heat, anger is anger, lust is lust, joy is joy. Whereas a person who has gained the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the result is undoubtedly there is no more reality such a person would give to the so-called perceived world. That falsification is complete. If falsification is incomplete, he did not do the samadhi. As simple as that. Then it's only Sushupti. He just went to sleep and came back. From the Savikalpa Samadhi, he went to sleep. Because upon waking up, he still feels, the world is as real as I had left it behind. And somebody asked this question, I think somebody asked this question, I think, yeah. Nandita only asked that question last week, I think, last time. So how is that we continue to have the same reality upon waking up? So because we are giving reality to the waking state, there is apparently reality of the waking state, right? Because continuity is there. What I left behind yesterday, today morning I picked up, so it has to be real. If it is unreal that yesterday what I did would not continue today, right? See, think about dream. Is a dream when you have finished yesterday's dream, today you have seen the continuity of the same dream. Continue, dot. Next day, then from there only it starts. It doesn't happen. So we can say, dream is false. Why? Because there is no continuity. That's not the waking state, Swamiji. I left my husband and slept, and the same husband only I go back to next day. How can that be that real? The problem is that is the nature of Maya. It creates such a reality in the waking state. It creates a reality of what you left behind yesterday is the same thing continuing now. So that's why it's hard to overcome. Only Nirvikalpa Samadhi can end it. So that is why it has to be done. That's what he gave that. Ye Nirvikalpa Kya Samadhi Nischala Tavantara Anantabhava Hi Vasana. So until then, Vasana will not go and leave when it is Nirvikalpa Samadhi is done, that is the end of the Vasana. Indeed, desires are the effects of innumerable births. Only Nirvikalpa Samadhi, except a Nirvikalpakya Samadhi Nishala, Thanantara, without that, Ananta Bhava hi Vasana. Continuing, Aham Buddhyaiva Mohinya Yojayitva Vritir Balat Viksheva Shakti Purusham Upay Vikshepayati Tadgunaihi Aham Buddhyeva Mohinya Yojayitva Vritir Balat Viksheva Shakti Purusham Vikshepayati Tadgunaihi. So, Aham Buddhya eva yojayitva mohinya yojayitva. Mohinya, out of delusion, with the delusion. Aham Buddhya eva yojayitva bhalat avrite. Avrite balat. By the strength of avarana. Just like the example of a magician who hides the truth and shows the false. That is his nature. I mean, that is his profession, not nature. What does he do? Hides the truth and shows the false. And we think because it is seen by us, it is true. So that is called avaranam. So avaranam is to hide, viksheva is to project. As you all know, these are the two powerful powers of Maya. So viksheva shakti purusham vikshepayati. So avarana covering, or Gurudev calls it as a non-apprehension, leading to misapprehension. Now, in sleep, only non-apprehension takes place. I don't know. In deep sleep, there is no vikshepa. Whereas in the case of a person who has woken up, as soon as waking up is essentially vikshepa shakti already started. So in the case of avarana, it is tamas. In the case of vikshepa, it is rajas. Avarana is tamorupaha, vikshepaha rajorupaha. Sattva is to know that it has happened. Sattva buddhi is what? Oh, both of them are working now. What? Because without the avarana, vikshepa will not take place. Without the non-apprehension, the misapprehension will not take place. Without the hiding of the fact that it is the snake, when it is the rope, the appearance of snake would not take place. If there is nothing there, you will not project, right? There is a snake there. In a plain ground, there cannot be any snake. Rope is hidden and appearing as the snake. See, unlike where Buddhism would say Atman itself is not there, then projection is happening on what? That they do not accept the presence of a ultimate eternal reality, but they accept the world is a projection. World is a projection of the mind. So can you project anything without a base, a substratum? If I have to project a screen movie, I need to have a screen. And the screen should be there for me to project on it. Similarly, without adhisthana, how can there be a imagination? So only when the rope is there, I can mistake it to be a snake. If there is nothing there, how can I project? Where does the projection take place? So the adhisthana is hidden, and at once the projection also takes place. So that's why he said, Aham Buddhya. The Aham Buddhi means Anatmani Atma Buddhya. That is called aham buddhi. As it is given here, aham buddhi is what? Yada aham buddhya means yojayitva tat prayojya avridehe. So aham anatmani atma buddhim karoti tada swarupam tirohitam bhavati. Anatmani atma buddhim karoti. Anatmani shariradi. The in that various upadis, upadau atma buddhim karoti. Iti purvottaritya mohinya swarupa chavikaya, upon the falling of the one's true nature, aham buddhya yojayitva tat prayojya avrudehe swarupa aprakashasya balat. In the absence of the realizing or knowing of the self, purusham pandidamapi. Not a common prakrita person, but even a well-read person, even a person of knowledge, vikshepa shaktihi brahma parampara janika sankalpa kamadi vritti janika cha tadgunehi swakiya karyehi sankalpadi rupaihi vikshepayati. And he says, vikshepa means what? Bahir anayati. It brings him away from what? Duramatmana. It takes you all far away from yourself. Say like a rubber band, and you stretch it, that's what we use. Rubber band is used when it can be stretched. But the rubber band is useful only when it comes back to tighten it, right? What is it trying to do, the rubber band? It's coming back to its original form. Then only it can bind, right? If you stretch and it stays there, then you can't use it. In the same way, it takes you away from you and takes you away from my own self. Vikshepa is that which makes me divorce myself from myself. And because of that being away from my own self, I'm always under tension because I want to get back. But I do not know how. I'm getting bound by that then. So, when that rubber band, then when it is released from the tension, what happens? It's quiet. It is by itself. In the same way, when we are departing ourselves from ourselves due to the power of vikshepa, there is tension, there is agitation, there is restlessness, there is absence of peace. So, indeed, it is very difficult to overcome this vikshepa shakti. Therefore, he says, vikshepa shakti vijayo vishamo vidatum. Nisheshamavarna shakti nivritya bhave. Drigdrishyayo sputapayo jalavat vibhage. Nashyatadavarnamatmani cha swabhavat. Nissamshayena bhavati pradibandha shunyo. Vikshepanam nahi tata yati chen mrisharte. Vikshepa shakti vijayo vishamo vidatum. Nisheshamavarna shakti nivritya bhave. Drishyayo sputapayo jalavat vibhage. Nishyeta atmani cha swabhavat. निस्संशयेन भवति प्रतिबन्धशून्यो विक्षेपणं नहि तदा यदि चेन्मृषार्थे विजयः विषमः. It is very difficult to conquer what? This Vikshepa Shakti, projecting power. Until when? Vishamaha Vijayaha Vidatum Vishamaha. Vidatum, to accomplish Kartum, Vijayam Kartum, or that succeed to the Visheba Shakti is difficult. Katinam, Durgam, Vishamam. When Nishesham Avarana Shakti Nivritti Abhave, in the absence of complete removal of the Avarana. See, basically, when knowledge takes place, it is not removing Vikshepa, it is removing Avarana. See, by saying it is not snake, it is not snake, it is not snake, it is not going to accomplish anything. Because I am saying it's not snake. I am seeing snake. Instead of that, let us remove the darkness covering the rope. When you put on the light and show it as the rope, you don't need to extra do anything to remove the snake appearance. Okay? And upon knowing that it is a rope, you don't need to do anything for the person to remove the misapprehension that it is snake. So any attempt to remove the snake idea from the mind of the person without showing that it is rope is not going to accomplish anything. So what is the role of sattva? Put the light on. Let there be light. That is all it is. Right? So misapprehension of oneself as anatma about I am the body, I am this mind, I am this prana, I am this, all these things will at once be removed the moment I know aham atma. Right? That is what Upanishads would do. When the student comes with all misapprehensions, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, this, that, these are all because of your misunderstanding yourself to be that individual entity, body, etc. So the intent of the Guru is what? I'll directly tell you, you are not this. No, I don't believe. Then who am I? You are the self. What did Bhagavan Krishna do? Ashocha nanva shochastvam prajnavadam sabhashasya. You are thinking about things which are not true. No, that alone is not what it immediately goes directly into the explanation of the self. Avinashitu tadvittiyena sarvamidam tatam. Straight he goes to the Atma Tattva. And then from that standpoint, when you look at it, you realize that all these things are all projections. Direct attack. So here, Nishesham Avarana Shakti Nivritti Abhave, without the complete removal of this Avarana Shakti Agyan, Viksheva Shakti Vijayaha Vishamaha. Conquering the Vikshepa is difficult. And what is that? How do you remove the Avarana Shakti? Avaranam of the misunderstanding, non-apprehension. Drishayoho sputa baya payojalavat vibhage. Drishayoho vibhage. First. Clarity about what is subject and what is object. As we saw in the Panchadashi also, what is the Swarupa of Bodha? Bodhasya Swarupam Kim. bodhasya hetu kim, first of all. Shravana, manana, nididhyasanadi, sadhanani, karanani, bodhasya, right? Bodhasya hetu, shravana, manana, nididhyasana ityadi. Bodhasya swarupam kim? Mithya atma vivechanam. Atma mithya vivechanam eva swarupam. What is the prayojana? Come on.
Karya.
Granthi Beda.
Grantha. Granthe
Granthi Beda Anudaya.
Anudaya.
Granthi Anudaya. Right? There is no more not. No more not of the Ajnana. So, what is Swarupa of Bodha? Atma Mithya Vivechanam. That is the Swarupa. So, here also, Dridrishyayoho Vibhage Sputa Payo Jalavat. Paya and Jalam. What is that? Milk and water separation clearly when it is done, like a Hamsa boat does. Completely removing the water from the milk or milk from the water, it depends upon where you are. If you are in India, remove milk from the water. If you are here, remove water from the milk. You know, when you are basically boiling the milk, what happens there? Water is getting evaporated. Right? So only the milk is there. Water is getting evaporated. The milk content is there, that alone is coming up. The water getting evaporated. The same way, in the case of Vivechanam or Viveka or Sattva Buddhi, what happens is there is clarity about what is the self and what is not. What is Drik, what is Drishya. Drik Drishyayoho Vibhage, Sputa Vibhage, very clear distinction, like Payo Jalavat, between the milk and the water. Nashyeta, Nashya etat avaranam atmani. So that there is total destruction of this avaranam, because what remains is atmani swabhava, because what remains is naturally the self. What else would be there? You don't need to create the rope. You just remove the misunderstanding that it is not the rope. Upon shedding the light, what is there is seen. What is projected disappears at once. Nissamshayena bhavati pradibandha shunya. Nissamshayena, without any doubt, all the obstacles that are there for you to recognize the self as oneself, tada vikshepanam nahi. Even if there is there, yadi chet mrisharte. But the victory is undoubtedly complete and it becomes free from all obstacle. When there is no oscillation of the mind, there is no false, there is due the mind due to the false sense of objects. The false nature of it comes to be clearly seen. Gurudev writes, as long as the cause of the disease exists, the symptom of the disease cannot end. As long as the cause of the disease called avarana is there, the symptoms called vikshepa will not end. So the subject and the object, when it has got the capacity of removing the subject away from the world of object, the subject by itself rediscovers the supreme essence of its own nature. In that experience of the self, there can be no trace of any doubt at all. I may doubt about everything, but about myself, there will be no doubt. So, can there be a doubt about yourself? Am I false? No, you are not false. Everything else can be seen as false. but not you. So there is no falsity about the one's own self. That is what is pointed out here in this particular verse. Nisamshayena bhavati. So as here Bhashikar says that tata vivekanandaram avarana bangartam karaniya amshaha kobi nasti. Avarana bangartam karaniya. So karaniya amshaha kobi nasti. There is nothing more to be removed. And then Mityabhude anatmani nikshepanam manasaha na chetyati vikshepa shakti vijayaha nissamshayene pradibandha shunya bhavati. So, removing the vikshepa can be no more of any effort. Because the projection is seen to be false and what is projected is also seen false. Projection itself is false. If somebody later on comes, let us say, having discovered that it is only a rope, not the snake, will there be any more doubt again? You will look at it. I think sometimes it becomes snake. It is like that boy, who went and he was told very clearly, it's not an elephant, it's only a mud. Okay, let's go. Oh, I forgot my Angavastram there. Can you go and bring it? Boy says, can you come with me again? Why? Because in case that becomes elephant again. That means you didn't understand it's mud. Marathil madayavarindada madayane. In Tamil they just said, it's not mud they have used, they used wood. Maram means wood. Marindada means hidden or merged. The wood elephant. Wood elephant merged into the wood. But still the boy did not fully accept it. So he says, in case. Similarly, a person which is immature understanding still will consider the world and its happening as true until it is completely removed due to correct knowledge and through nirvikalpa samadhi. Edadrisha viveke sputabodham hetum aha. So the complete knowledge takes place here. Samyak viveka sputabodha janyaha. Vibhajya drigdrishya padartha tattvam. Chinatti maya kritamoha bandham. Yasvat vimuktas swayambun ekstvat vimuktasya punarna samsritihi. Samyak viveka sputabodha janyaha. Vibhajya drigdrishya padartha tattvam. Chinatti maya kritamoha bandham. Yasmat vimuktasya punarna samsritihi. Samyak vivekaha sputa bodha janyaha. So the nature of bodha jnanam is vivechanam. That clean, complete knowledge is a unambiguous, straight, without doubt, discrimination between subject and the object, or otherwise known as real and the unreal, otherwise known as nityam and anityam. That is the true knowledge. If that is not there, avarana will not go away. It will continue. And avarana is there, vikshepa immediately will come. Swamiji, avarana is good. No, when you go to sleep, there is only avarana. Then just sleep. So Maya will not leave you alive. Avarana, for too long you cannot stay there. Not like Kumbhakarna. He was given such a wonderful gift by the Lord. Stay 6 months in Avarana. You don't need to wake up for 6 months. We are just doing Valmiki Ramayana. So Ravana, he comes to the council of his ministers And it gives a wonderful reasoning. Now, I'm calling you all for this counseling to tell you something that the enemy is around the corner. Rama with his retinue is around the corner. So I want your suggestion about how to meet this enemy. And why so they are all wondering, why is he here? Why is Rama is here with because they have no clue. Then he says, oh, and by the way, I want to tell you about a situation which I did not tell you because Kumbhakarna was sleeping. What an excuse. Kumbhakarna was sleeping. So you are not told us? Yes, because I want him to be around. Now he woke up, I'll tell you. What? I happened to go and then pick up her Sita from the Rama. And therefore he is here. After problem has come to such an extent, he only then reveals to his counselors. An interesting thing is, which tomorrow we'll see, that Kumbhakarna blasts him. You useless one. Who asked you to do that? Because you are not you are consulting about everything else, but this one you didn't consult anybody. How is that? And you are king. And in the council, he has explained the beauty of Sita, how he is so enamored by her, how he has become a slave to Sita. And councillors, ministers are watching this. What is wrong with him? He's Ravana. He's the highest, huge, powerful person.
Sounds like Trump.
Yeah.
Sounds like Trump.
I don't want to get into the political situation. So here, Vivekaha. What is Viveka? Very clear understanding of Vibhajya Drigdrishya Padartha Tattvam. A total discrimination, clear about Drik and Drishya. What it does? Chinatti, cutting completely, Maya Krita Moha Bandham. The bondage created by the delusion, power, delusive power. Yasmat Vimuktasya, for the one who is released from that, na Puna Samsritihi. Punaha na Samsriti. There is no more transmigratory existence. Gurudev writes here, the seer and the seen. This is a typical phraseology used in Vedanta. It is a comprehensive phrase, indicates not only the seer and the seen, but includes hearer and the heard, smeller and the smelled, taster and the tasted, toucher and the touched, knower and the known. In short, the idiom denotes all known subject-object relationship. And understand that Kena Upanishad is that exactly that is starting point. Is it not? Shrotrasya Shrotram Manaso Manoyate Chakshushas Chakshuhu Pranasya Pranaha. What does it mean? Pranasya Pranaha is Atma. Pranana Atma. Pranasya Pranaha Atma. Chakshushoho Chakshuhu Atma. Na Chakshuhu. Shrotrasya Shrotram Atma. Manasaha Manaha Atma. So Manaha na Atma, Manasaha Manaha Atma. Meaning mind is not the self, but mind of the mind. What makes the mind is the self. So the subject is what is again and again pointed. Na tatra chakshur gacchati, na vak gacchati ityadi. Dirgevana drishyate. That's the point there. Now, therefore, that is the nature of the knowledge. Knowledge should make that very clear. What is that? Sputaha asandigdaha, unambiguous. Aviparyantaha, avaryastaha, yobodhaha, shruti acharya prasada janitaha, mahavakyartha anubhavaha, tad janyaha, tad anantara kalikaha, samyak vivekaha. So, that is born out of the teachings from the acharyas who clarify the Mahavakyas. Born out of that is the Viveka, Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, iti evam rupaha. Drigdrishya Padartha Tattvam, Atma Anatma Yadatmyam Vibhajya, Shira Niravat Pratakritya, Maya krita moha bandham mayaya avidyaya krita yo moha swarupatirodhanam tena ya baddha the anatma su atma buddhihi tam chinati samulakayam kasham kashati. Kashati means it rubs off completely. So, the interesting example he gives is Kshirat Udruta Udrudam Ajyam na Punaha Shiri Bhavati Tada Swaprakasha Ananda Akaratam Yatam Manaha na Punaha Anatmasu Sajjate Idi Bhava. Now, Punaravritti means what? No coming back is what? It's giving an example like ghee produced out of the milk does not turn to become milk again. Right? How do you take the ghee out of the milk? You cannot see the ghee out in the milk. But first of all, you boil it. Then remove the water first, right? Then you start, then it has to go through the process of what? What is it called? Curdling. It has become a curd. After the curd, it has become a thick curd. Then you start to do the churning. In that also further, what the essence of that very curd turns out to become butter. Then that butter is heated up to become a ghee. And it condenses the ghee. So ghee, can you make it go back to the state of milk? Ever? In the same way, through this whole process of Viveka, when a person has come to know the false nature of the objects, etc., for him there is no Punaravritti. That's why it's a Punaranna Samsriti. So, if you want to take the example exactly, first of all, you have to heat up the milk. That is Shravanam. Come on, start to heat up first. Slowly, slowly, after heating up, the milk is there, then it starts curdling. Slowly, slowly, it becomes a dense, correct knowledge. Then you do mananam, mathanam. What happens? Something better comes out, like a butter. And that butter in the seat of Nididhyasan, the Gurudev calls the white heat of meditation, turn it to become ghee in the Samadhi sthiti. Ghee. Once that has become ghee, then only you understand what is Gita means. So then why you say Gita as Gita? Because Bhagavan, you asked Bhagavan to ask, in Tamil, Ta means give. De do. Ghee de do. Ghee de do. So Bhagavan Gita. So Bhagavan gave the ghee. So Bhagavan having given the ghee, then afterwards what you want? Nashto moha smritirlabdha. Right? So, na punaravrittihi, na punaha samsritihi. Okay, continuing here, says, Paravarekatva vivekavahnihi dahatya vidya gahanam yashesham kim syat punas samsaranasya bijam advaita bhavam samupeyushosya Paravarekatva vivekavahnihi dahatya vidya gahanam dashesham kim syat punas samsaranasya bijam advaita bhavam samupeyushosya asya samupeyushaha advaita bhavam samupeshayasya samipeyushasya asya samsaranasya bijam kim syat punah. For the one who has gained the understanding of Advaita Bhavam, oneness, where is the seed for samsara for him again? How did he come to that point of Advaita Bhavam? Para avara ekatva viveka vaknihi. The fire that has merged Ishvara and Jiva. Para Ishvara. Avara Jiva. Tayoho ekatva vishayakaha vivekaha. Interesting thing is, earlier the Viveka was about Atmanatma, right? False Anatma, Atma, the truth. So between real and unreal, that is Viveka, Dridrishya. But that alone is not sufficient there, even though the first start with the Viveka is about what is real, what is not real, what is Satyam, what is Asatyam, what is Brahman, what is Mithya. Then, upon recognizing that there is only the Paramatma, then who's Ishvara? Ishvara is there only when Drishya Vastu is real. If world is real, then God is real. When one comes to recognize only the Jiva Tattva Paramatma alone is there, where is then Ishvara gets merged? Jiva Ishvara Yoho Tayoho Ekatva Vishayaka Viveka. So two definitions of Viveka is given. One Viveka is Vibhaga Karanam. Vibhaga Karanam. What Vibhaga? Anatma, Atma Anatma Yoko Viveka. Second is Ekikaranam. Oh, just opposite. Vibhagakaranam abhi viveka. Ekikaranam abhi viveka. तोड़ना ही विवेक है, जोड़ना ही भी विवेक है. तोड़ना निकालना, so विवाह करना, you have to break into two. This is subject, this is object. तोड़. So here the subject and object are not two different. See, when it comes to me and other, there is a viveka is very clear. But me and my mind, vivaha karo. I'm not my mind. Mind is different from me. It's only a false entity. That vibhaga has to be done. After that vibhaga karne ke baad, thodne ke baad, jodna hai. So, ekatva vishayaka means ekatva vishayam karoti. Ishvara jivayoho tayoho ekatva vishaya viveka. Vichara janita bodha. Sayeva vaknihi. See, when you take a wood, and when you light a little spark of fire into that, what does it do? To start with, it burns the water in that wood. Smoke will come. A lot of smoke will come. Why? The water is evaporating there. Right? It's getting rid of the water there. And the water is turning into smoke. Then after what happens? It completely burns the entire thing into bhasma. What is remaining is nothing. There's only ashes there. In the same way, the Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara, three things are there right now. Right? I, the world and God. These three are there presently. Now, first state of Viveka is keep the God from outside. Just me and the world. Because I would have no problem with him. I have a problem with the world only. Do I have a problem with the God? No. Only problem is he created this. That's a problem. Okay, let us come to this point. What problem I have with this world? Now, once you understand slowly by the Viveka, the world is false. Then let us look at Bhagavan. Then who is he? He created this illusion. Now I understood it's an illusion. then do I have reverence or complaint about him? Having understood the illusion, I have no problem with now. Now, then he cannot be away from me. That's why he says, Atma darshanam, Swatma darshanam, Isha darshanam. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi say, when people go to him with problem, to us this problem, this, he would always say, forget about this, forget about God, please. Find out who you are. Forget, just leave the God aside. Let us not take him into consideration right now. Let's just work on you. Now, once you work on you and you realize who you are, then you realize that, whoa, that is real. The Ishvara is real only with respect to this illusion. When I know it's an illusion, then no more problem. There's nothing called God who can threaten me anymore. Threaten means there's no overruling. I mean, there's no ruler above me. Then I become Anish. Anish means. That is why the Bhagavan Ganapati, what's his name? You know that? Vinayaka. You know what is Vinayaka means? Usko Nayak koi nahi hai. Layak hai, but Nayak nahi. Vinayaka. He has no Nayak around above him. He himself is the one. Brahma Swarup. So therefore, Vivekaha Pradama Pade, in the beginning stage, it is Drik Drishya Yogo Beda Drishtihi Bhag Karna. उसके बाद जीव ईश्वरियों को एकत्वम करोति. Among the Ishvara and Jiva, they becomes one. This is the vichar. So, Bhakni, Asesham, that fire of that Viveka, Ashesham, complete, Sakala Karyam Sakam, Avidya Gahanam, Avidya Eva Gahanam, Aranyam Dahati, Basmi Karoti, completely burns. So that's why it says, Vihveva Beta Janakwe Ajnane, Nasham Atyantikam Gate, Atmani Brahmano Bedam Asantam Kaha Karishyati. Viveda Janake Ajnane, Viveda Janake Ajnane, when this jnana which is causing this division, Nasham Atyantikam Gade, when it is completely destroyed, Atmani Brahmanaha Bedam, the difference between self and the Brahman, Asantam Bedam, Asantam being not there, Kaha Karishyati. Who will do it then? Upon ending the difference. Iti pramanat advaita bhavam nirbeda brahma bhavam samupeyushaha nirantaram sakshat kurvataha asya mahatmanaha. For that such a person punaha samsaranasya deha tadatmya brahmasya bijam kim syat. It is the seed of the samsara. Continuing here, he says, oh, time up. But when you leave me, I'll keep going. So time ends it. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve pashyantu ma kaschid dukkha bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.